There you go.
Well, welcome to the May 3rd, 2022 session of Tangerine SDR and Hamside technical session. My name is Dave, KV0S. And this week, I've been cleaning the shack and working on a few projects that are related to organizations. So that's most of what I've been working on. So next on the list, we have Nathaniel, W2 NAF. Go ahead, Nathaniel.
Thanks, Steve. I've been trying to get ready for Dayton, take care of some administrative work there. And then I'm also working with Case Western. We're trying to put in another grant proposal to continue the grape work because, believe it or not, the Daisy grant technically runs out this December 31st. So we're planning on, for the Tangerine, we're planning on putting in for a no-cost extension, which I think will be just fine. But I think the grape funding, they're going to be about done. And I think they've actually done a really good job. And but we do want to try to continue it. And the proposals due May 20th. And so I think we want to look at the eclipses that are coming up in 2023 and 2024. So I'm trying to do a literature review and trying to figure out exactly like what science question we're going to go after. I think we generally have a pretty good handle on, what people's different roles are going to be, but we really need to get that science question hammered out. So that's really what I'm kind of thinking about right now. WGNAF back to net.
Well, very good. That's a very good thing to be or planning so that you actually accomplish what you'd like to. Next on the list, we have Bill in 8ET. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Before I forget, I will be kitty corner across the aisle at the Archie booth down in Dayton. So if anybody over in Hamside or Tapper gets tired of being over there, they come over and hide in the Archie booth. We got a bit of a curtain on the left side, so we'll be probably just out of sight, where you can hide all the junk that you're hauling home and you don't want other people to see. Got plenty of room in our booth. You can stick it in there, and hopefully be there at the end of Dayton, unless it's really good, and I'll take it home. But yeah, this week I finally ate through my third 9-volt battery. One of those will run the grape receiver about 2-3 days, and I got tired of that. I finally found the power supply and hooked a 12-volt power supply to the grape, and it took up and started running. I left it for a day or two and came back yesterday and took a look at the graphs, and the frequency response took off right off the top of the graph, and something well, obviously wasn't right. It took me about an hour. I looked at the trace on the screen, and the WWV was changing frequency and moving around. I decided that couldn't be right because something was radically wrong, and figured, well, it must be my oscillator. Finally realized that when I was changing power supply and batteries, I'd moved the GPS antenna. And so my oscillator had gone out of lock. When I moved the antenna again and got the thing to lock back up, everything settled down and it's running again. And now it's running without dropping out because I got a supply on it. So we're back in business. And I should be able to see if the traces are all looking normal now. So finally got one good 24-hour run. I'll take a look at it as soon as we're done talking here. So that's about it from here, Dave. Back to you.
Fine business. Next on the list, we have Dan in for XWE. Go ahead, Dan.
Thank you, Dave, and good evening, everyone. I've been doing a lot of FT8 monitoring lately, and it's been pretty wild. 30 meters actually ran for 24 hours straight. Ran overnight last night, pretty strong. The day before, everything was very strong. The day before that, there was nothing. I think we had some sort of a solar event that blanked things out for a while. And then it came back with a vengeance afterwards, which I think is fairly normal. But I will say, just sitting there looking at it and thinking about it, you really see a lot of interesting stuff going on. And it'll be even more interesting when we have a chance to collect some data and analyze it a little bit and kind of figure out why some of these things are happening. Anyway, back to you, Dave.
Well, fine business. It sounds interesting. Next on the list, we have Mike, AAAK. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, thank you. And greetings to everyone listening. Back to you, Dave.
Okay. Next on the list, we have Dave, KD0EAG. Go ahead, Dave.
Hello, everyone. Nothing really to report. Back to you all.
Okay. Next on the list, we have Gary, AF8A. Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Spent a little time this weekend on Sunday. We're making some recordings for the Christina's Sunrise Festival. Got them up in Jupyter notebooks and generated all the files and graphs and whatnot and uploaded those a short time ago. So hopefully there's a small chance that I contribute a little bit to whatever science comes out of that whole project. And Dan, I think you made an interesting comment. You know, one day we'll have a better understanding of all this. I mean, I personally, every time I sit through a ham site conference or something like that, I think about the future. Maybe it's the near future where we can take our propagation forecasts we have today, the current technology, which is really a set of probabilities, and to kind of merge that together with some real-time monitoring and get a real good handle of what's going on with propagation at any time of the day. Sort of like we do with the weather, right? Terrestrial weather. But that's what I'm hoping for sometime in the future. Back to the net.
Well, fine business. And next on the list is James, KG4DSG. Go ahead, James.
Good evening, Dave and the group. I'm just sitting here rebuilding a Ubuntu 2204 server. Not much else going on here. No crashes yet, but I expect many. Back to you.
Well, good luck. And next on the list is Joe, W7LUX. Go ahead, Joe.
Good evening, everyone. Had a successful STEM celebration here Saturday. Many thanks again to Nathaniel and Jonathan for providing material for the display, and talked to a lot of kids, and hope I don't come down with this miserable virus. The grape receiver has been sometimes moderately quiet, and other times I'm seeing excursions of much more than plus or minus 1 hertz. So lots and lots of activity going on. And some of those match up very nicely with Jonathan's VLF recordings. Anyway, that's what's been happening. So hope everybody has a good one. Thank you, Dave.
Okay. Next on the list is Jonathan, KC3EEY. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Hi, hi, everybody. I had a pretty eventful week. I was interviewed by a local meteorologist at my local news station. He does a segment called Skywatch 16, and it's often space based or science based. So I contacted him about Earth's Natural Radio. So I had a little chat with him on Earth's Natural Radio, and I provided him some samples, some pictures of the system, and that will be airing actually tomorrow at 7 at my local news station. So I'm actually looking forward to that. Also, there has been a lot of amateur activity in the VLF bands over in Europe, specifically with one fellow who has a really really good performing Earth probe antenna. That's basically where you connect. You put 2 electrodes in the ground, and the conductivity between those electrodes creates a loop, a transmitting loop. and there has been a lot of success both with phase and frequency lock carriers as well as the EBNOT mode with different message lengths. And he also tried sending a carrier at around 17 kilohertz or 1.7 kilohertz, which is very close to the tweak resonant frequency. And it got some interesting results. One of the receivers in Germany, his E-field receiver after sundown showed elevated noise, but his H-field receivers actually showed a 10 dB increase, which is really cool. So I'm kind of excited about these amateur experiments, and I would like to get started on those too. Lastly, there was something failed with the GPS module in the VLF system. I had Nathaniel power cycle the whole system, but it did not come back. Either it was a hardware failure, either the Trimble GPS module itself or the interface board that I use, or the NVRAM got corrupted and it just needs to be factory reset. I have a replacement interface board and GPS module just in case, but yeah, I was actually kind of disappointed because without GPS, you can't correlate signals and you cannot decode. You cannot integrate phase and frequency lock carriers or decode any messages. So that's the kind of unfortunate. And lastly, I was working with Lori at the University of Scranton to purchase some 25 ohm isolation transformers for the, one of them will be used for the Radio Jove antenna. That's all I have. Back to the net.
Very good. And next on the list is Jules, K2KGJ. Go ahead, Jules.
Good evening, group. I'm going to have to take off here fairly shortly because I have a joint ARES Mars exercise on channel 1 and 60 meters. But just commenting on Dan's and for XWE's stuff on FT8, I was also in FT8 this week on 40 meters. And today I tried 15, was able to make some European, this is QRP running 10 watts to a halfway vertical. And I was able to make European contacts on both 15 and 40. The band this morning, I tried this morning also at around 0600 to get into the South Pacific. Heard a number of VKs and ZLs, but I have to increase my power to 100 watts. So if I'm gonna work that path with FT8, at least at this point. Dave KD0EAG and I have been working on a project which he actually started for a very, very low power RM 3100 remote location. This is a board which has an Arduino here, RM 3100 here. That's running currently a 3-axis data collection, drawing 20 milliamperes at 5 volts, 25 mils at 5 volts. The next thing is to add one of the LoRa units that Dave's been looking at, which will probably bring up the power in idle mode by another 10 mils and peak, depending upon whether we use up to 100 milliwatts or not, maybe peak power for transmission up to close to 50 or 60 mils. But basically idle is quite low and very promising for a battery powered installation. Back to Nick.
Question for Jules.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Jules, is this Mars ARES thing, is that your locale or is it the entire country? Do you know?
Region 2. It's only Region 2.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, well, next on the list, we had Jay Schwartz jump in there, WB8 SBI. Go ahead, Jay.
Well, good evening, everybody. Yeah, sorry for the delay in joining late, and just a lot of personal stuff got in the way here. Nothing really spectacular to report other than just really, really looking forward here to the upcoming pilgrimage in Ohio and looking forward to seeing everybody there. So otherwise, 7-3 to all, back to net.
Very good. And next on the list is Scotty, WA2 DFI. Go ahead, Scotty.
Hey, thank you, Dave. Good evening. And this week has been a pretty bad week, actually. I ended up with sciatica toward the end of the week and was on my back for about 3 days. It was awful. It was like one of those just shoot me and get it over with deals. But I did manage to get up and get a grant request in time to get it in before the May deadline. And so I asked for the for funds for the Data Engine Mark II and for a couple of seats of Altera licenses for building the FPGA for the DE Mark II, and also asked for help in manufacturing more magnetometers. So we'll see how that goes. Probably they said they'll acknowledge them middle of July, and then I don't know when the actual grants will be decided, but it's still waiting on the quotes back for the adapter for the loopback boards, and we're still waiting for actual DE adapter and the production magnetometers. So those are in process still. Takes about 5 weeks to get them, so they'll be in after Dayton. Unfortunately, also looking forward to Dayton and seeing everybody in person. So back to you, Dave.
Okay, well, I believe that's all on the list. We only have 13 tonight. So unless I miss somebody, we're open for general discussion.
So when we wait 5 weeks, do you just you get any word back, Scotty, in terms of this is going well, or you just kind of hang out for 5 weeks and then one day everything shows up?
Well, usually what happens is I get a request for some anomaly in the Gerber files, like there's some extra copper flashing they need to take off, or there's something that they don't like. It all seems to always be that way. So I'll hear, once he orders the boards, I'll actually hear that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping I might actually get blank PC boards by Dayton, so I can at least bring a blank board and show what it's going to look like. And the loopback boards, the CM is so busy. I sent him the files on last Wednesday, what, the 27th, I think it was, and he didn't get back to me. So I pinged him again to say hello, because usually when I send him something, he immediately sends me back a receipt, an ACK. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
But he said he's been so busy, he hasn't even had a chance to look at them until today. So, but these are really easy. The loopback boards are only 2-layer. And like I said, we have all the parts for them. So it'll be really easy. I'm more interested in getting the adapter board, because that's something that we can plug in right away and get started with doing some fun things. And then of course the magnetometers, I want to get those going so we can sell them.
Right.
So people can buy however many they want. And but I think I need to do a little bit of work on the manual, because I'm going to come out with a and I know Dave, you may have done this already, but to some extent, but I want to come out with a manual directed toward the actual board we're going to make, with a big picture showing arrows to all the jumpers and what they do and how to strap it, and basically a instruction manual for the complete idiot, being someone who doesn't know anything about magnetometer could take one and hook it up and make it work. So we won't have any more mistakes like I didn't know where to put the jumper, or mean, hopefully we've already eliminated most of that anyway, because we have like 2 jumpers left. But it'll be something that people can look at that answers their questions. So,
Well, Scotty, one of the things that people find confusing is the the 2 boards are separated, and they have different functions on different ends.
right, and now this is going to be a lot easier because since we can't get the temperature sensors, enough of them, and we decided we're going to take the RM3100 header sockets off of the local board,
Right.
because they cost $2, and that's about 25% of the whole BOM cost, other than the RM3100. We're just going to eliminate those on half the boards. So
Yes.
now you're going to need instruction on which board to take and do what to it to make it a local or a remote. And pictures are worth 1,000 words. It won't really take that long. There's not that much that's there, but it has to be written down somewhere.
Yep.
or people just won't be able to do it. And I'm expecting a lot of people to buy this who aren't familiar with the magnetometer at all, who haven't been to our sessions, who are going to need to know how to do it.
Well, when you get that, please send me a copy to put on the website.
I will have you and Dave both look at it to critique it and let me know if I did anything bad.
Have you've already got the magnetometer modules from PNI?
I do not have any. The idea was we're going to build all of the baseboards, but we're going to buy the magnetometer modules in smaller groups because they're a major cost for the whole kit. And so we can save tying up a whole bunch of cash by not buying like 250 of them all at once.
I see. I just got 10 of them today, and you can't, they've done away with their web purchase page. And so you have to do all the pro forma invoice nonsense and all the classic business things, which I'm sure you're very familiar with, but it's a righteous pain for me.
But I could just give them a PO, right?
I don't know. I don't understand what they want, but I got it to, I ended up giving them a PO of some kind, but it, took a lot more back and forth than I had ever imagined.
And do they have a quantity discounts? It seems like that they did, but it was very minimal.
Not that I'm aware of. The price has actually gone up $5 each, since we or $6 since we originally started this, but they're still not exorbitant. And
it's 25, right?
Yeah, it's $25.
Because I remember you had got a quote at one time, and I think there was some volume discount on that quote that you got, but that was back when it was 20.
Yeah, but that was 2.5 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
So
probably the best thing for us to do would be to buy at the first price break, whatever that might be, 25 or 50, whatever it is.
Yeah, you'll have to communicate directly with whatever that woman is who handles these things. Or well, I don't know who it is. I was really interacting.
It was Becky, wasn't it? Or
there's somebody, something kind of like that. But you kind of really have to send them a message saying you want to buy them, and then they send you back the price.
Well, I think I'll just go ahead and do the formal thing that we do and send them a request for quote and say, I want a 25-piece price and I want a 50-piece price. So what can you do and what's your delivery?
Yeah, and that makes sense, but I found it intensely irritating, and it took me an extra 2 weeks to get them, I think.
So they aren't really suited to hobbyist use then?
Well, I don't know. They did it fine for a while, but I think they just bought a new billing system or something, new accounting system.
So you paid the full 25 for your 10, 25 each for your 10, right?
Yeah, I didn't try to haggle or anything.
Okay. Usually we don't
haggle,
haggle, but we ask for a quantity price, and I don't have any idea where the breakdowns are. So
yeah. Well, it's not going to be at 10. I can tell you that.
But it might be at 50.
Yeah, much more likely. And they came packaged without pins. Whereas I think they had pins before. I can't remember.
No, the pin ones were $64 each.
Yeah, no, but they sent you a little set of pins.
Oh, okay.
To solder on, and
I buy
I
those
think-
sets of pins for 7 cents.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
It doesn't really matter.
right. But and I have them everywhere. Just
Yeah, so we have, this is a production one right here. And these are all loose, okay, they're just sitting in there. And then we've got the bag of parts, which we give you, that has the extra connectors and the headers in it, so
yeah,
it'll be
Yeah.
pretty simple, but when you get the bag of parts, you gotta know where to solder them, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
'cause
Not that they're
you can make mistakes if you solder the 40-pin header on the one that has the PNI sockets, then
yeah.
you just made a mistake.
Yes. Yes. Well, yeah, they deserve, a reasonable set of instructions. And it'll save us a lot of grief.
Yeah, save a lot of questions having to be answered.
Yeah. But no, not disagreeing about that at all.
So do you think it's okay to just have the instructions online? Because they will be much better in color, I think. Whereas if we print them, they won't be in color.
Yeah.
Well, we can make both a web page and a PDF that you can download.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go.
And then
because-
that way they can print it out if somebody wants the paper.
Could have Jason make us a movie of MP4, how to build one.
No.
Well, that might take a while.
Yeah.
No,
But
but
you'd be hard pressed to build it wrong if you had that.
Well, I don't know.
I think it's entirely possible.
I watch this guy that builds stuff, and he'll get to some really interesting stuff, and he does it really fast. And you have to back up and play it again, and back up and play it again to catch all the little details.
And I think we could make the text good enough if we can convince builders to read. That seems to be the problem. Is like, everybody wants to just jump right in with the iron, and they don't want to read anything. And
yeah,
it's tempting.
We need to put a bunch of warning messages somewhere.
Yeah, so maybe the thing to do would be to put the parts kit, the bag of parts, in with the board, and make 2 separate bags, a local bag and a remote bag, and so you don't dump them out at the same time. So
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
nice.
Maybe even a sticker on each one that says what it is. Local and remote.
Yeah. Could have made this, well, no, I was gonna say I could have made the solder mask different color, but the whole point of doing it all the same is we use one PC board for both.
Right.
So it's already going to be enough heartburn for the CM, I think, to not install 3 components on half of the boards, because now they aren't all the same. So now you can't just set them up and let the machine go. You're going to have to count up to 250, and then you're going to have to stop it and then take the 2 parts off and then continue running it. And I don't know what the pick and place machine does when there's 2 parts just missing, or whether you have to change the program to not do anything with those parts. Probably sounds an alarm and stops. So
yeah,
how he's going to do it is up to him. But he really cut it down as inexpensive as possible, because I told him I really wanted to do this onshore. This is going to be assembled in the U.S.
right.
So we're not going offshore. We don't have the problems with time delays and shipping costs and all that. So all we have is a little bit higher expense, but we made the board all SMT. So all of the optional components are the through-hole ones. So no technician has to touch the board other than optical inspection or anything like that. There's no soldering has to be done by the CM, hand soldering.
Yep.
So that helped get the cost down. And of course, the volumes being high helps too, because we're building 500 boards, which is 250 kits. So that's pretty large volume. So I'm hoping that they sell well enough that we can do the same size build again, because you saw what happened on HPSDR. We build 500 and then the next build is 50, and all of a sudden the cost is like 50% higher, and everybody
Yes.
goes, my board was 179 and now the new board is 399. It's like, why is that?
Yep.
Well, because we only built a quarter of the volume, so or less.
Well, and they trickled on and on too.
They did, and actually
There's still interest
well,
even
like
today.
the whisper boards too. I mean, how many years have we had whisper boards now? And
Yeah.
we've got them for all bands, and they're like $32 or something. They're 29. They're around $30, and to plug onto a Raspberry Pi and make yourself a whisper transmitter.
Yep.
And we've been selling them. Since I didn't do it, I don't keep track, so I don't know how many thousands we sold, but it is in the thousands.
Yes.
So seems comparable to HPSDR. I think Noel came in. Was he in the
Yeah.
list?
Yeah, he didn't make the roll call. Do you have any comments, Noel?
Oh, sorry, I'm so slow. We had another meeting. Yeah, I just finished working on a magnetometer. I'll unplug it here. That is just the Raspberry Pi Feather with the RM3100 breakout board. And this thing doesn't have any Wi-Fi, or doesn't have any Ethernet, but it does have Wi-Fi, so I can use MQTT to get into one of the cloud storage systems.
Very good.
So that I don't know, that drives another order of magnitude down in the price and size of this thing. And somebody was working with ESP32s before writing code. Is that person still around?
It's Dave, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's me. I've been working with ESP32s and now some other simpler chips, but just trying to make very low power remote nodes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this ESP32 is the new Feather V2. It sort of works. It has a bunch of glitches that you have to work around, but it's getting there.
So that's not like a Pi Zero?
No. It's even, well, it's one step down. It has a number of analog digital connections, but it has a I2C built into it, but it doesn't have an Ethernet. And
Pi Zero doesn't either, but a Pi Zero
Right.
W has Wi-Fi. So
right, yeah, it's pretty much the same thing, except it runs on MicroPython instead of CircuitPython.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's you're talking about the PyCon the Pico Feather. Is that right?
No. This is the ESP32 Feather, not the.
The SP32 Feather. Yes, I have some of those.
Yeah.
And I have some others that you have I'm hoping to experiment with the Pro SP3s from this Ultimate Maker guy, I think, or Unexpected Maker guy, and they're lower power yet, and especially they have extremely low power, very, very low dropout regulators, and some interesting features, but just trying to see what can be done, and not just for the magnetometer, but perhaps for a few other instruments at the same time at a remote location. You've probably been talking to Jules, and he and I have been discussing all this.
Yeah. Well, the real question was, how low a cost and low a power can you get? This does have the low power mode, but it's still I2C doesn't work unless you realize that one of the pins that's supposed to be an I2C isn't working, so you have to hire another pin. Yeah, the SCL pin doesn't work.
Really? Oh,
yeah, so you have to. Yeah, so and that's buried in Adafruit's learn guide. If you read it over 83 times, you'll find that. So.
Yeah, I've had a lot of frustration with Adafruit's recent boards of this sort because they're so wedded to the Circuit Python. They only use their own pin numbering schemes, and it's very confusing sometimes, especially in the Pythons, to know what pins you want to deal with.
Yeah, you almost have to designate the actual pin number.
Yeah, and I
but,
like.
Yeah. But if you need help on any of this code, I've got pretty much working with the MQTT transfer as well as the Wi-Fi, and then talking to the RM3100, which is another manual that was clearly written by someone who doesn't speak English, nor do they understand coding.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty familiar with that at this point, but I've got the ESP32 talking. I'm using that to directly build MQTT and relay from, to a via LoRa. And so just trying all the options, see which ones work in the end. And we began this whole project assuming from the get-go that getting the data from the magnetometer to the place where it was being collected, or at least to the Pi location, was going to be a problem, and that noise, especially noise, was going to be our big worry. We didn't want to try RF or anything else. We didn't try anything except the differential I²C. But having established that works nicely, but it'd be really nice to go a little further and a little, have a little different geometries of collection, at least in my way of thinking. And so that's why I've wanted to do, explore some of these other avenues.
Sure. Yeah. No, I have one of the RM3100s with the extender boards, with your extender boards running. Well, with whoever claims the extender boards, I have that running, and that is running down the hill right next to one of our Themis magnetometers. So that's pretty reliable and pretty good. This one I built for fun, and wanted to have one up here to see what it looked like when I put it up in the house. The other one that's still buried, and believe it or not, it's still frozen in the ground. We've had below freezing mornings, everything except the last two. We went above 70 degrees on Wednesday for the first time in 6 months. And so I can't dig it out yet. I'll get the shovel out here in a few days, and I'll be able to get it out, and then put more of the FLC 100s in there. So it's good.
Yep.
So I wanted to break in. We have another person that came in, Michael. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, everybody. I'm sitting in a hotel in Richmond, Indiana, on my way to Cleveland to pick up my son from Case. He's just finished his freshman year, so we'll be picking him up, seeing him tomorrow, and then loading all his gear up and driving home, starting to drive back on Wednesday. While I was there, I was hoping maybe I could see the ham radio club set up and everything. I guess there was some reconstruction going on there, but John's not on, and maybe I'll send him an email.
If we can wake up Nathaniel. Nathaniel?
Yes.
So do you know anything about Case Western's radio?
Which part of it?
The student radio station.
Like their the broadcast radio?
No, their ham radio station.
Oh, their ham radio station. I do know something about it. What about it?
Well, Michael's going there tomorrow.
Okay.
So
That
he
sounds
was
good.
asking a question and I thought you might know something about it.
Yeah, sorry,
Well,
I'm getting really tired. Yeah, what's the question?
Oh, no worries. I may actually look up John Gibbon while I'm there. I
Yeah.
had
You
overheard some
definitely-
conversations about there being some reconstruction going on or something.
Yeah, you should definitely talk to John Gibbons and David Kasdan, and they can give you a tour. David would probably be more than happy to. And their station is up on, they have a penthouse on the roof up there that you can get into.
Right. I've seen it from the ground, but that, anyway, that's what I'm up to.
It sounds
group.
good.
So I don't think that anybody else has snuck in here.
I think we ought to quit so Nathaniel can go to sleep.
Yeah, well, and
I'm
Scotty
sorry.
too. He's dozing off. But it's earlier for Scotty in the evening than.
Yeah, but I don't sleep when my back hurts like a steak's driven through.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I might be ready to call it a night and try and get some sleep. And
So
keep working
when
on
you
things for-
before you leave, when are you coming into Hampton?
Wednesday night.
Okay.
How about you?
Setting up Thursday. Yeah, I'm going to come in Wednesday afternoon. There's a group of crazy people that get together. It's called Lunch with the Geeks. That happens on Wednesday.
Oh, nice.
So it takes me about 6 hours to get there from St. Louis.
Uh-huh.
So if I leave early enough, I can get there by lunch.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
we'll probably organize stuff at Tom's place for the booth and all that. And then we'll set up Thursday.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So you'll be there Thursday morning, probably setting up. too.
Yeah, so I have to decide. In the past, I've taken students over to Contest University, which is really fun. But I know if we do that, we can pretty much only spend half the day there because of we have to get the booth set up too. So yeah, I'm not sure if that's going to be worth it or not this year. It'd be great to, but it's a lot. And
that's on Thursday, right?
Yeah, that's on Thursday. And then let's see. Yeah, we'll be leaving. I'll leave here Wednesday. I have a final exam to give. It's gonna be Wednesday at like 10:15 a.m. So I think right after that final, we'll hit the road and get out there. So
How long does it take?
about 8.5 hours. So
Okay, you're looking at Wednesday evening then.
yeah, we'll get in Wednesday evening. But yeah, that should be okay for Thursday. Yeah. But I'm contemplating skipping. I love Contest University, but it may just make it way too hectic to get everything set up, and that
I
just
like to
makes
go
it really tough.
to FDIM also, but it's the same deal. It's like it takes up the whole day Thursday.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
haven't
it
done
may,
that in a few years.
it may be better to just get set up and get everything put in over there. So
Yeah. And
yeah.
again, I'll put out the plea for people who have known Bob Berninga before he passed away to come to the Tapperams at dinner on Friday night and say a few words in memoriam and let us know what interactions you had with Bob. So if anybody hears this or reads the recording, please email me and we can get you on the speaker's agenda. I think we have 2 people who knew him really well, so that will help. And then, short anecdotes are good too. Kind of give a view of how wild and crazy Bob was when he was in his prime. Putting solar panels on his Prius.
Yes.
I still remember, you guys know what the RCD10 is? It's basically the front panel of a Kenwood APRS radio. And they said, well, since all the APRS stuff is in the head, we can sell this as an add-on, and you could take like a V7, a non-APRS radio, and you could just plug this in and you'd have a APRS rig. But it sold for like $300. And so they didn't sell any of them. So 1 year, Kenwood decided, okay, that's it. We're not selling these anymore. We're discontinuing them. And HRO put them up for $100 out the door for one of these. So here comes Bob at DCC. He has a D710 that's just the head, right? It's a little bitty, and he duct taped a battery and an HT to the back of the thing, and he made a tracker and a GPS, and he had a handheld tracker that ran for, I don't know, 8 or 10 hours, but it had an LCD display, so you could actually see how far away people were, and it was pretty ingenious. But I mean, come on, really, duct tape and taping your HT to the back of the controller. But that's just the way he did it. You know, he saw a use, he just went and did it. And so, you know, the guy with the duct tape tracker, he still had a tracker.
It's true.
Even though it looked kind of hokey, it still worked. So it was interesting. And I hopefully he inspired lots of other newer people to do things that they normally wouldn't do, just because doing stuff is fun.
Yeah.
So, okay. And then Nathaniel, you're probably leaving Sunday right after the show.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Because you got a long drive home.
Mm-hmm. Get
And
everyone back.
That's my brother's birthday. So I got to go help celebrate his birthday with him. So.
Oh, nice. Where's that?
In St. Louis.
Great.
So I go back there and stay with him on his birthday, and then we go out and have a big party.
Nice.
But I have to get home. It's about 6 hours. So I think they're on Central Time. So
Yes.
I gain an hour. I mean, I get an extra hour coming back. So if I leave by 2, if I leave by 1, I can get there by 7. And I don't know, do you remember when the show closes at noon, or is it later? I think it's noon. Hamcation was later. It was like 2 o'clock, but I think this is noon. So booth teardown is fun.
It's been a while, Scotty.
I know, it's 19, right? So that's 3 years since we've had a real face-to-face fun time.
Yep.
It'll be good. Be good to get back and see people again.
What hotel is everybody staying in?
I'm staying at the downtown. It's not called the Crown Plaza anymore, but I don't know. So Radisson bought it or somebody. But I'm staying with the Northern Ohio DX Club, as we call it, the No DX Club.
So you're at the old Crown Plaza?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm at downtown.
I'm at the I'll be at the Courtyard by Marriott near the University of Dayton, which I think is only like a mile from the old Crown Plaza.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's not too far from there to the Amvention. I mean, I don't think it's any further from there than it was to the Hara Arena from the same hotel. And I think it's a lot easier to get to because you're not, the town's here, you're staying here.
Yeah.
The place you're going is here, as opposed to you're staying here and the place you're going is over here. You have to go all the way through or around. So
right.
So yeah. Oh, so good. So all your
that's good. So I won't be. What's that?
Are all your students and everyone staying in the same place?
Yeah. So I'll have 3 students with me. I'll have Veronica, Kung, and Diego.
Oh, cool. Good. So we can hang out in the booth and talk about FPGAs.
That's right. Kung will love it.
Yeah. Well, if I have a DE board, if I had a DE board that was assembled, I mean, we could, even if we didn't have any code, we could still plug it together and show it. That would be really. But I'm not.
You could get that.
I'm not holding my breath. It takes. It's going to be the week after Dayton. Dave's ringing.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, hopefully that all goes smoothly this year.
I hope so. And let's see, I guess DCC is the next Hamfest, so you need to go to
I feel
bed.
like, yeah, I feel like these projects, you know, they're, I feel like they're coming together. I feel like it's taking a really long time, but I mean, I do see progress. Like I do see, we've got a lot of parts that you're making. I think it will come together.
Yeah, so little pieces that will form the big piece.
Mm-hmm.
You get to play FPGA. That's going to be
Mm-hmm.
it'd be great fun. But at least you don't have to worry about parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I've got another project we're working on where I just it's got a DAC in it, and I just can't get the part. I mean, I don't know what to tell them. I can't get the part, and I warned them this would be the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But
Are these the people you told to buy the parts sooner?
no. Well, I mean, I did tell them that, but they're waiting for us to specify, and so it's but when you look and you see the place has 1,000 of them,
Mm-hmm.
you don't worry about it too much. And actually, Analog Devices, who makes the part, has them in stock, but they will only sell me a tray of 179 of them, and they're $600 parts. So I don't have, $47,000 or whatever it is to buy that huge big number of them. And in this day and age, they should disassemble the tray and package them in some other method for samples.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, in a year or two, they won't have any users because nobody can build anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh well, preaching to the choir here. It's just frustrating. So I'm looking forward to the days when I can be frustrated because the FPGA code doesn't work, not because I can't get any parts.
We're looking forward to new problems.
That's right. New problems that are more esoteric in nature, thought problems, as opposed to hardware problems.
Yes.
And I got the the RF module and the clock module sitting here just like nagging at me to do something with me.
Mm-hmm.
So, any day now.
Any day.
Any day. It does seem like, we started this, Nathaniel, in like 19. Was it in 19 or was it in 18? It was in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Was it in Albuquerque?
Albuquerque was when I gave that first seminar talk, right?
Yeah, and that was the one where you asked for Tapper for help. We first got started on working together on the personal space weather station.
Yeah.
I think that was 19.
I think it was
19.
I think it was 18.
18? It was 18?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then 19 was St. Louis, right?
17.
Then where was it in 19?
Michigan.
No, you're right.
Michigan? No, not Michigan.
Ann Arbor.
No.
It was because I drove out there.
No, I've never been to Ann Arbor. And I know I'm sure I was at that one. Wasn't it Missouri?
I thought Missouri was 17. We can look on the Tapper website.
Wasn't it the Detroit Metro Airport? Yeah, the last one before everything got shut down was in Detroit.
Oh,
they were going to Charlotte the next year, and we haven't yet to get there.
Okay.
Right.
Then it was.
That's in Wayne County. But it may have been the Ann Arbor group that was sponsoring it.
Yeah, this used to be all very nice and easy to find on the Tapper website. They had a list of all of them, but it's not there.
Oh, it's there. It's under library.
It was definitely Detroit because I'm looking at my flight itinerary right now.
Scotty,
library. Okay.
Look under our library and there's a list of the talks.
Oh, okay, got it.
By year.
But they used to have a list of all of the conferences, the DCCs, all 30 of them or whatever,
yes.
and the place that they were. Okay, so anyway, it's 2018 was in Albuquerque, 19 was in Detroit, 20 went virtual, so 17 was St. Louis.
Yes.
And then 16 was in Florida. I remember where they set the air conditioning to 50 degrees inside. And there was condensing water running down the windows on the inside of the building. Okay, now that we got that straight. So it was 18. That we
Yeah.
started, right? That was where you gave your first, where we had the first inkling of, first we were going to go buy an off the shelf one. Right, that was our first
Right,
step.
that's right.
We're just gonna identify one that you could use.
Yeah. Well, I think I first started talking about it at the Hamsai workshop in Newark when we had that in 2000. That was also in 2000.
That was the first one.
Yeah, but that was also in 2018, but I think that was in March of 2018.
18 or 19?
2018.
That was the one that I missed because I was not feeling well.
Okay, but I was there. I remember
because
I remember sitting with Steve Bible after the conference over in the little pizza shop across the street from the university, across from NJIT. And yeah, we gave I gave a couple talks there. I think we gave one talk there. And then we did they did the long seminar at Tapper DCC in Albuquerque. And then in 2000, let's see. When was the Case Western? We didn't actually write the proposal until
Was
yeah,
was 19, wasn't
yeah,
it?
that was in 2019. The March 2019 Hamsai workshop. Right after that, we wrote the proposal to do the whole personal space weather station.
So March 2018. Well, that would have to be 17 then, because I remember I wouldn't have gone to the Hamsai workshop if I hadn't talked to you at the prior DCC.
Then that was the March 2019 Hamsai workshop you went to.
I went to the Case one.
That's 2019.
I did not go to the Newark one because I was sick that year, so I couldn't go.
Here are all of my meetings.
I know. I'm looking at the workshops right now, and so 18 is one I did not go to.
Right, that's the NJIT one.
I was registered. Okay, you know what? I was going to look here and see in 2017. So let's see who the see 2017 you gave the Hamsai and total solar eclipse talk.
Right. And then 2018 I gave the Sunday seminar.
Okay, so you actually Hamsai asked Tapper for help in 17 then. And then we really got started because I remember we had over the summer we had meetings. Steve Bible was really in charge of getting the initial requirements down.
Right.
So that we could pick the SDR.
Right.
And then we determined that, well, nothing's going to meet our requirements. So then we had to roll our own. And then I guess that was really kind of launched in 18.
Right.
Let's see. I didn't give a talk in 18. So that would have been at 19 in Detroit.
Scotty, I remember in Detroit, you were showing off your Tangerine SDR mock-up in the demo room.
In Detroit? That would be 19. Okay.
Yeah.
It was the piece, the copper boards cut to shape.
Right, the solid boards cut into shape and stuck together. But see, that would be 2 years after. Wow, this is a long time.
Yes.
Things take a long time.
The thing is interesting is I still have those copper boards laying around. I've cut them apart and reordered them a couple times to correspond to the changes that we made.
Hmm.
Because when we had to move things around, and even the way they are now is not the way the real boards are. Because we had to make another change. We ended up moving the clock module over to the other side. The RFs stayed on the back like they always were, but we moved the clock module over to the left side instead of the right side, and we moved all the connectors with the IO on the left side instead of the right side because we had the leaf, but we added the leaf board.
Yep.
That took up the right side, most of it. And most of the connectors were too tall to go under the leaf board. So we had to move over onto the other side. Yeah, okay. But that's evolved over years. This
Yes.
layout.
The best laid plans.
Yeah. Who would have thought that we'd still be fooling around with this now? This should be all being shipped. You know?
Well, we just had a few little hiccups in between,
Yeah.
like a pandemic and
And
a
the supply
shortage of
chain
parts.
disruption and
Hmm.
a lot of discussion that
Mhm.
resulted in
Yes.
a lot of changes in the architecture even.
Hmm. I feel the thing that really slowed us down was the part shortage.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
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 I'm still looking at some part shortages that where the delivery, like, what was it on these ADC, on these DACs? There was an outfit, I think it was, maybe it was DigiKey. They said they're expecting 4 of them in like April of 2023. Now, can you imagine waiting over a year for just 4 parts?
Eh,
So I should buy that tray of 179 parts and resell them
There you
One
go.
at a time.
one at a time for double the price.
I heard somebody talking today. The word of the year is broker, broker, broker.
Yeah.
They're making a killing.
Well, we actually found all the parts we needed on this outfit. It was called semiconductorcomponents.com or something like that. It's in Hong Kong. However, if you go and read the reviews of the place, it says they're very responsive while they're negotiating with you and giving you quotes and all that. And then as soon as they get your money bank transferred, all of a sudden they aren't there anymore.
Oh,
So it's like a scam. I mean, you go in there and they've got 1,500 ADD or DACs that are $500 each.
Yeah, sure they
Mhm.
do.
Sure they do. Right. Or they at least have chunks of plastic with the number marked on them. You know, whether they actually work or not or have any chips in them. Anyway,
Yeah, I heard somebody complaining today that Adafruit was complaining about microchip not shipping parts.
yeah. That I mean, they don't have anything to sell if they don't get parts, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. But I thought microchip might be a little insulated from that, but I guess they aren't.
So I guess it's kind of like restaurants that can't find employees. Sooner or later, you can't. I mean, I've gone to restaurants where half the tables were empty and we had to wait. And it's because they don't have staff to wait on the tables. They can't fill the whole place up with one waitress, you know, it
Mhm.
doesn't work. So they say, okay, we're only going to seat half the people.
Hmm.
It's really, I would say in the food service industry, every place that we go to eat, fast food or otherwise, has a help wanted sign out. Down here anyway. So
Same here.
same there. Yep.
Yep.
So this is nationwide.
So don't expect to eat fast when you're dating.
Yeah.
They're
We're gonna have a new definition. It's gonna be slow food. Now you go in and it takes a long time because they don't have any staff to make it. They were talking about putting automated kiosks in a McDonald's so they wouldn't have to pay the employees $15 an hour. Well, they still have to pay them, but they could use less of them.
Hmm.
Well, they put them in one of the ones out here and then they took them out. No explanation.
Here.
I don't know what happened. They just But
Probably made by the same company that makes their shake machine.
yeah, or Taco Bell's freeze, whatever. It's broken more often than it runs.
The machine that never works.
Yeah.
And their iced tea also.
What, it makes iced tea too?
Well, no, it doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't, right?
It doesn't do anything.
Gotta go. See y'all later.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say good night too.
Same
Thank you.
7-3, everyone. We'll see you next week.
7-3.
7-3.